A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review, and boy do I have a fucking doozy for you today, so cheers. Now, I did review Bentley Little's first novel, The Revelation, a few weeks ago, and I enjoyed it immensely, so that led me to kind of go and track down his second horror novel called The Mailman. This was written in 1990, and I am so angry that I never looked at any Bentley Little books in high school or anything like that, because The Mailman was without a doubt one of the most batshit crazy fucking ideas I have ever seen or ever read in a horror novel itself. I enjoyed it immensely. I'm just going to let you all know that now. But this is going to be a spoiler-filled fucking review because the ending of this book is absolutely bonkers and someone needs to make this into a feature film. It's just that fucking crazy. So let's get right into the next episode of... Okay, let's get started. So, the story is set in this small town in Arizona, where the author Bentley Little is actually from Arizona. And it revolves around a family. We have Doug, pretty much the main character. He is an English teacher at the local high school. His wife Trisha and his young 10 or 11-year-old son, Billy. Now, the book actually starts with Trisha going to the post office and finding out from the postmaster that their regular mailman has committed suicide. He basically took a shotgun into the bathroom and blew his brains out all over the wall and was found by his wife. At the funeral of the mailman, I believe his surname is like Ronda or something like that, Doug notices the new mailman is standing there kind of smiling through the whole service. And this guy is like thin and creepy looking, very white skin, flame red hair. And Doug gets this really bad feeling about this new mailman. Who goes by the name of John Smith. In the subsequent weeks following the mailman's death, and this is all happening during summer vacation, so Doug is at home and his son is not at school and so on and so forth. People in town start getting mail, and this mail is either mail from people they used to know but lost contact with. It's mail from people in town, and this kind of escalates this sense of dread and suspiciousness throughout the town, because some of the mail is slander, it's lies. The mail is telling people, your wife is having an affair and things like this. So the town is kind of turning on itself, very similar to Stephen King's Needful Things. Maybe to a lesser extent the Blackstone Chronicles, but you kind of get the idea. At the same time, the dogs in town are being killed. Why? That old stereotype that dogs hate mailmen. For no other reason. This keeps going and going and going, and then the power gets turned off and things like that. At the same time, no one's getting any bills in the mail, so there's no electricity bills, no water bills, or anything like that. Doug gets suspicious, goes down to see the postmaster, who he's actually friends with, and discovers that the postmaster isn't there and that John Smith is now running the post office because the postmaster is sick. Okay. So, Doug immediately thinks something's not fucking right, but you know what? Whatever. He and his wife and kid go on a picnic by the river, and as his kid Billy is kind of playing around in the water, he discovers a ton of discarded mail. Doug collects some of the mail and decides to go and confront John Smith, who it is now found out that has been delivering the mail in the middle of the night, which everyone's getting kind of freaked out about. Wow, excuse me. His wife Trish has a friend called Irene, an elderly woman. He has a teacher friend called Hobie, and Irene and Hobie start getting very disturbing packages and things in the mail. Hobie starts getting letters from his brother. His brother died in the Vietnam War, and these letters often include pictures of very young women in compromising positions, and then those same women dead. Irene has been getting packages of, the first one was a toe, because her husband, who has long since passed away, lost his toe in a lumberjack accident, and that ultimately leads up to her just getting packages of parts of his body. Billy's friend Lane, they are best friends, starts getting naked pictures of Billy's mother in the mail, which causes them to have kind of a fallout. And these kind of things escalate to the point where Irene is brutally murdered and Hobie is actually arrested for child pornography when they find an actual dead girl in his trailer home. All the while, Doug is kind of freaking out. Trisha is freaking out. It's almost like the mailman has targeted them. This kind of escalates very quickly, and it does in the book as well. The first, I would say, maybe the first 3/4 of the book, it's a very slow psychological grind, and then it just escalates really quickly to the point where the mailman attacks Billy and attacks Trisha, and Billy is hospitalized. They think that he has been raped, when in actual fact he hasn't. He tells Doug that the mailman couldn't actually touch him. Trisha recalls as well that when the mailman attacked her, he couldn't physically touch her. Doug gets this idea. It comes out of left field. It's a very bizarre thing. But Doug gets this idea that when the mailman doesn't deliver or receive mail, he loses power. He gets this idea from the fact that during the 4th of July, when there was no postal service on the 4th of July weekend, the next time he saw the mailman, he looked very sick. So he calls a town meeting with the help of the police and basically gets them to agree to not receive any mail. So if the mailman delivers something in the letterbox, just leave it there. Don't take any mail at all, and the mailman will lose his power. Because by this point, the whole town fucking knows that there is something wrong with the mailman. Now, previously to this, Doug had spied the mailman dancing in a field, chanting the American Postal Service Code of Conduct. Whatever, I don't fucking know. So, the town decides to not collect the mail. Shit escalates. The mailman starts getting weaker and weaker and weaker. But he does manage to kill the chief of police, which leads one of Mike's former students, who is a police officer, to kind of get a posse together to go after the mailman. They go to the home of the postmaster where the mailman was staying. They find the postmaster dead. They decide to track him down at the post office. He's not there. Doug goes, let's go to that field where I saw him fucking dancing around. And they go there, and ultimately 2 of the cops get killed. They shoot the mailman, and he falls off a cliff, but the body isn't there. He's not dead. Hobie is dead. He kills himself in prison. Irene is dead. The wife of the original postmaster, the original mailman, Rhonda, is brutally beaten and raped with a baseball bat, which I don't know what the baseball bat significance is, but it's in there. They ultimately track the mailman down to the post office where he has created this kind of lair. The cops want to go in and kill him. Doug says, no, I have to do this. And Doug goes into this room by himself to confront this now decrepit and dying entity of the mailman. The mailman puts Doug in a dilemma because he knows that Doug has realized if we don't accept the mail, then he's going to basically die. So he has kidnapped a girl and wrapped her up as a package with brown paper. He's put stamps all over her face, and she is slowly dying. And the mailman knows that Doug has to accept her as a human package to take her to a hospital, and in doing so, he's going to get his power back. But Doug realizes that her pleas for help and everything are from the mailman himself. She is already dead. So Doug basically goes, fuck you, and the mailman dies. And that's pretty much how the book ends. Yes, the book ends with the main character not accepting a human package from an evil mailman. Not much else to say. Except, wow, this book was fucking awesome. I loved every fucking minute of it. It was just so batshit crazy an idea that it worked. It was also, it didn't have all the gratuitous sex that a lot of horror novels written at the time felt they needed to put in there. Books by Richard Layman, James Herbert, Sean Hudson, all had like overly gratuitous, graphically described sex scenes in it. This didn't. There was sex in the book, don't get me wrong, but it was just like not too gratuitous. You do get a sense of dread at the end of this book when you don't know who or what the fuck this mailman is. And the way he's messing with people, it does give you that kind of tense feeling which you want in a horror novel. Bentley Little's The Mailman. I cannot recommend this book enough. So much so that the minute I finished it, I actually went and downloaded his third book, Death Instinct, which I am currently in the process of reading. I am now a lifelong Bentley Little fan, and I'm going to read and make it my project to read every Bentley Little novel out there. I believe his last novel, Gloria, was published in 2021, so he's still going. There you have it. That was The Mailman by Bentley Little. Please go out and read his work. It's fucking great. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another episode. But most importantly, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day, and of course, read a fucking book, people.